Hey, thanks for joining me. Yeah, this is it. This is my round column mill fix. That's what we're going to build today. If any of you own a round column mill, you know the frustration of drilling a hole or milling a slot or whatever, and you go to put a longer mill or drill in there and you can't fit it. So you undo your lockdown on your column and raise it up, and you no longer have your horizontal position. A regular mill has a table on the bottom, a knee mill. The table moves straight up and down and you don't have that problem. So I've come up with a cure for the round column mill. It's power lift. Power lift and it stays lined up. Anyway, let's get on with it and build this thing. Okay. Primary objective here is to stop the mill from moving like that when you raise it up and down. I was going to put a clamp on this column and mount a bar right here, maybe another clamp right here, and have a guide that follows this bar when you raise it up and down. But this pulley hits this bracket here. You got the quill handles here that are an obstruction, and you have the lockdown here that would be harder to get to if you had this bar here. Not impossible, it's just more difficult. But this is the main thing right here. Let me show you the other side. Okay, everything's clear on this side. You don't have any pulley here. You can mount that bar right there. The pulley won't obstruct with the bracket. Same on the bottom, but you got this handle here. This is for the height adjustment. You got to be able to get to that. So what I'm thinking now is put a power feed right here that's fairly slim, and then mount my bracket right here. The power feed will be really nice anyway. So that's the direction I'm heading now. But I got to build a clamp to clamp onto this column, so there'll be a section sticking out like that to mount the bar to. So that's what I'm working on now. Okay, on the top half of the mill here, I'm going to make a U-bolt go around it like that, and then I'm going to cut a piece of metal like that to go onto that U-bolt, like that. And that's what's going to be my clamp up here. So, right now I'm cutting that curve. In the bottom one I'll have to mill a slot in for this rack. Anyway, that's what I'm doing now. Okay, to cut that curve, I could have used something like this, but I didn't have one large enough. So I made one. And I'm not going to get into how I made that. Most of you will probably just buy a fly cutter that's appropriate, or maybe you have one already. This one here has got a carbide insert, and I'm hoping it'll do okay. Okay, as you can see, I've already started cutting one piece right there. And then I decided I needed to stack them and cut them both together. So what I'm going to do now is finish cutting that bottom piece to match the top one, and then I'll start cutting them together. Okay, this is the final pass. Okay, we want to space these holes out from the center. So the distance between the holes needs to be the diameter plus 5/16, which is the diameter of our rod there. So all total, I need to make this hole spacing 4.84. That's center to center, 4.84. but I'm going to make that from the center. So it's 2.42. 2.42. Yeah. So I need to go, that's 1/2 inch, so I need to go 250 in. 1, 2, 50 is right there. The center. Now I need to go 242. 2 inches and 42. So it's one, two, three, four. Yeah, I like it. Okay, this is how I made the last U-bolt. This right here is 3 3/4, and this is the same as my column. I can't believe I had a piece that diameter. It's 4 1/2. It's not exactly right, but it compensates for most of the spring back. Move the camera a little bit. Well, this one seems a little bit tougher than the last one I bent. By golly, it looks pretty darn close. Close enough. Okay, I'm going to cut the slot for the rack on the column, and I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to make it 1 inch wide, and that's about 1/8 inch oversized. So about 1/8 inch deep. That's what I wanted. Okay, eventually I'll be welding an arm to that bracket right there. Maybe offset it a little bit, I don't really know, and I don't know the length yet until I get the drive on the power lift. So the power lift is the next step. Okay, here's how I'm going to do this. Got a plate here, I've got it marked off as a hole for the crank. This hole's right there. Those Allen screws. I'm going to mount that plate right there. Big sprocket will go there, a little sprocket here for the drive, and well, we'll see. Okay, I'm going to try to use a hole saw. And this is a cheap little hole saw I got somewhere. I don't know, I've cut holes like this before with a hole saw, and it did good, but they were high quality hole saws. And I got this one surplus somewhere. We'll find out. my next project. Make this mill a little bit higher up. Okay, just about through. That's it. I like it. That worked good. Aha, looks good. Okay, the next step is to make some spacers to go in here. This is not a machine surface and I want to bolt it flat. So hopefully the bottom of these holes is equal distances. And I'm going to make the spacer probably a 1/2 inch deep in that diameter there, which I think is 1/4. Huh, look at that. What do they do that for? That's crazy. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. There we go. Now tell me something. Why is this 1/4 screws? It doesn't make any sense. This is a Chinese-made mill with 1/4 screws. I saw a 5/16 in this mill too. Anyway, that'd be kind of tricky. I'm going to have to take this back off again anyway, but okay, the length on these is not super critical as long as they're both exactly the same. Okay, I'll probably end up moving that gear or flipping it over or whatever, but for now I'm just going to leave it there. Chain drive. I think it's going to work. Of course, it falls right between two links. I may have to order a half link. Drum roll, please. I believe it's going to work good after I get a... Hell, maybe I need to put a chain tensioner in there. Put it right there. I got a tensioner. Okay, I'm going to take this apart off camera and probably mill this off right here because I got a wire pinched right here. And then we'll get back to mounting the guide rod. Okay, that right there is a bracket for our guide rail. Okay, let's put this thing back together. I give it a coat of silver paint or hammered effect paint. Okay. Okay, got the shop cleaned up. I got myself cleaned up, got a haircut. Let's finish up this guide rail. Bracket goes right there. Yeah, stick it right there. Now I've got to remove these and weld that bracket to it. I think centered is pretty, yeah, centered will work. Okay, right here where I left, where I welded this angle iron on, I left a little ledge there. I wish I'd left a little bit more, but I wasn't sure what the clearance for my chain would be. And turns out I've got plenty of clearance. If I'd dropped it down another 1/8 inch, it would have been ideal. But anyway, angle iron's going to go in right there. And that's going to be an adjustment. I'm going to cut a slot in there for my guide. And I'll probably put some Delrin in here or something. Some kind of wear surface for the head to slide on the bar. Anyway, I'm going to mill that slot right now. There we go. I could put steel on steel there, or I can put some pads in there. I think I'll put some like Delrin pads in there. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, I added one final touch and then we can test how this thing does. I'm sure it'll do fine. I just don't know how repeatable it'll be, how accurate it'll be. Okay, what I did here, I added that bar. I put it in there to get the drill up out of the way. Ah, wouldn't you know it. There we go. Okay, it's all done. The question is, will it move at all when I lock it down? I can tell right now I need to tighten these up a little bit. I'm going to do that and then we're going to check the accuracy. Okay, found a problem. It's not a serious one, but it's definitely a problem. I put this clamp right here, guide and clamp, and I thought this would clear. The sprocket comes down on this bar. Now I lose a ½ inch of travel due to the clamp on the column, but it's more like right there is touching. It's almost touching this bar. What I'll probably do is just put a shim right there so it never gets down to that. I don't want to take away from my downward travel, but we're just talking, you know, 1/16 of an inch. Okay, how much did I lose in travel? I can't see up there. Let me get something to stand on. I lost about a ½ inch of travel on upward travel. Not too bad. I could take off that, or notch that guard and get it all back. But I'm okay with that. Okay, I've got the head of the mill locked down. And set at 0. Okay, now I'm going to unlock the head. And it's fairly low. Now I got the quill all the way extended and I'm measuring the quill as I raise it. Whoop, wrong way. Now I'm going to lock it down. About 1/1000th off. Let's see if I can do that again. Okay, locked down again. About 1 or 2 thousandths. Let's see, which way does that need to go? You know what? I'm going to leave that. I'm tickled to death with 2 thousandths. Unlocked. Move down. Lock it. It's actually closer to about 1 thousandths. I'm tickled to death with that. I like it. Well, that about wraps it up for today. That's a pretty good fix for a round column mill, if you ask me. Fairly accurate. Really, honestly, more accurate than I thought it would be. Anyway, thanks for watching, and be sure and subscribe. Also, one more thing. I'll make the plans available in the information box. I'll put a link down there to the plans and a parts list. I don't have it drawn yet, so if you don't see it there, be sure and check back. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and be sure and subscribe.